this one is a short video for those of us who are eyeshadow palette junkies or who can't stop buying eyeshadow palettes, although we should or we want to. So hopefully these tips will help you. And the problem is that brands have been releasing an eyeshadow palette a minute, and a lot of these are labeled limited edition, so there is a certain fear of missing out. And to add to it all, they've been doing influencer collabs, as well as, influencers have been going out there telling you, you need this, you need this, you need this. Everything's been getting a positive review. So, it's been very difficult not to buy eyeshadow palettes. At the same time, skincare, you'll use up, even foundation, you'll use up, lipsticks, you'll use up, eyeshadow palettes. Most of us probably have enough in our stash to last us for years. So that's the area. And, they are bulky. They're bulkier than lipsticks. They take up more space. So those, and they cost more. So that's the area where a lot of us want to, be very strict about when it comes to low buys or no buys. And fast fashion or fast makeup brands don't really help. They have a palette a minute, literally. And mainstream brands are now doing that as well. More mainstream brands have had around 20 palettes last year. And that's usually not the case. It's usually spring, summer, autumn, winter, holiday. Last year there were way too many palettes from mainstream brands as well as fast makeup brands. And a lot of these will end up as landfill when we declutter, as well as when, brands keep launching these things, because the packaging is not eco-friendly in a lot of cases. I agree there are some cardboard palettes, but not everything is. A lot of it is plastic these days. So I hope these tips help you stay away from eyeshadow palettes. Not too many, there are just 8 or 10. So off we go. Number one, I think it's better not to tell yourself, I won't buy a single eyeshadow palette. I think it's better if you set a limit. 2 palettes a year, 4 palettes a year. If you have that limit, and you're telling yourself, all right, better palettes are going to come along. And if I buy 2 right now, I won't be able to buy 2 later this year. So I'm going to wait and watch and then decide. So, hopefully by then you'd have lost interest in the palette that you wanted to buy in the first place, because you're waiting for better ones to come along. And maybe better ones never will come along, and everything else will continue to be as samey as they were. So set a very strict limit. 2 a year, 4 a year. It's up to you. Incidentally, this will help you shop your stash more, because you have to use what is in your stash, because the endless supply of new ones isn't coming. So you can use up the products that you already have. So this is my stash at the moment, eyeshadow palettes. Yeah, let's go from here. And about 4 or 5 palettes are missing. The Huda Beauty New Nudes, the Nude Obsessions, Each Cosmetics Volume 1. They are in my bedroom because they're on my daily rota at the moment. Everything else is in here, and that is my entire eyeshadow palette stash. Right, let me try and get everything in here. Yes, so that is my entire eyeshadow stash, and it includes all the sticks and liquids and creams and so on. And those little pillows that you see over there are packaged silica gel. Silica crystals rather. Because that way they're reusable. Number 2, if you are incredibly tempted by eyeshadows, trying to buy 1 or 2 singles of the shade. For instance, this palette. Alright, came in an advent calendar last year. And you want this shade, a rosy gold duochrome. Don't buy the entire palette. Look around if you can find a single eyeshadow and buy that from any brand. Because I think if you want to buy an eyeshadow palette, you must first look at all the colors in there and then see how many you already have dupes of in your stash, and then buy the others, the ones that you want, the ones that you don't have dupes for in your stash as singles. That will help. Number 3, audit your stash. List everything. Singles, quads, trios, quintets, big palettes, small palettes, super-sized palettes, everything, drugstore, high-end, in an Excel file or a notebook if you like writing, as I do. That will help you see, rather than looking at your stash, that will help you see the number of eyeshadows that you actually have. And when you're doing this listing, make sure to write the number of eyeshadows inside each palette. So if you're writing London Copyright The Opera palette, make sure that you write 10 eyeshadows in there. So that way you can read for yourself, put there in writing the volume, the largesse of your eyeshadow collection. Number 4, sort your stash into neutrals and colorful palettes, or neutral single eyeshadows and colorful single eyeshadows. Why? We'll get there in a bit, but sort these out, right? So you know how many colorful eyeshadows you have, how many neutrals you have, and once you realize that you have about 10 neutral palettes, or 5, 10, 15, doesn't matter, you may not want to buy another neutral palette after looking at that pile over there. And once you realize how many colored eyeshadow palettes you have, and ideally if you can list the main color in your Excel file sorting, you may not be tempted by colorful eyeshadow palettes. For my part, I don't love colored eyeshadow very much. I like neutrals with a twist, warm neutrals, ruddy neutrals, coppery neutrals, purples. I love my purples, but I don't really like my blues. I don't like blue eyeshadow, I don't like yellow eyeshadow. Khaki green, yes, but not any other kind of green. And teal, I hate it. I can't ever pull off teal, not on my skin tone. Anyway, this isn't about my skin tone, it's about how to avoid buying eyeshadow palettes. Now, why did I ask you to sort everything into piles based on color, to classify everything? Because you're going to depot, all right, if you are skilled. If you're not, wait, don't go away. If you can't depot, if you want to keep the packaging as it is, there's a way out. But for those who don't mind depotting, who don't want to store the bulk of the packet balance that way, depot into those color stories, so you know how many of a particular shade you already have. And all those depotted pans are going to be in one huge row, or in one huge magnetic palette. You can see for yourself that you already have 50 shades of neutral beige, or 50 shades of orange, of medium orange rather, and that will help you not buy more shades of medium orange, even if you see that in a palette or a single eyeshadow. For those who cannot depot, make a shade chart or a color chart. So what you do is you get a book like this, that's this size, and then you swatch each eyeshadow that you have. You've classified everything into different colors, stories, neutrals, warm neutrals, colorful palettes, purples, greens, and so on, remember? And based on that, you're going to swatch all the similar color families together. So all the neutrals, again, all the all-over base colors for your skin tone, all the inner corner shades, all the slightly deeper browns, all the ruddy shades, all the rose gold shades, all the peachy coral shades, all the medium orange shades, everything, swatch everything. Similar colors get swatched together. So this will help you, make a sort of dupe list. This is your ultimate dupe list, or your depotted new magnetic palette is your dupe list. So when you spy an eyeshadow palette, it is very easy for you to see what you already have in your stash, and if that palette is already dupable by what you have with you. The next one, again, you've sorted these into color families, remember? Make a no-buy box. Again, I've talked about a no-buy box when I told you about my no-buy tips. It's a lot of fun. I had so much fun putting it together. A no-buy box is a way of trying different things and not be bored by what you already have. At the same time, you don't have to spend money, and it's a lot of fun to put together. More about this I will be doing in a separate video, how to make your no-buy box and how to use it, how it's done, what the concept is. So stay tuned for that one. Last tip, play with different formulae. It's not just about, having a bazillion eyeshadow palettes in your stash. You want liquids, sticks. Liquid eyeshadow doesn't work on my oily lids. Creams, foils, duochromes. Play with those, instead of buying new ones. Seek out different formulations that you have in your stash, or at least if you must buy, if you don't have any in your stash, consider getting a couple of duochromes from indie brands like Furune and play with those. I think duochromes are a lot of fun, and I intend to buy quite a few from indie brands, and they'll keep me going, and they're not boring at all. There's so much depth and dimension and so much fun to them that I think they'll keep me from buying all those big eyeshadow palettes. Last year I bought 6 eyeshadow palettes. This year I don't want to buy 6. So hopefully these tips will help you and me not to buy any eyeshadow palettes, or you at least buy very strict limited numbers this year. Single eyeshadows I don't really have a limit on, because they're based on what I don't already have in my stash, based on my shade book or color chart. So I will only buy what I don't have there. It's big palettes that are causing the problem. So hopefully these tips will help me stay strong. Hopefully you've found these helpful as well. Do tell me if these have been helpful in the comments below. If you have your own tips for avoiding buying eyeshadow palettes, I'd love to know. Do tell me that in the comments below. So that's all from me for today. Thank you for watching this video. Please do give me a thumbs up. Please do hit the subscribe button. Please do ring the notifications bell, and I'll speak to you soon.